Let's start moving on here to last night's college football playoff. The first rankings of 2021. We'll start from 25 and work our way. So we'll go 25 through 20. And then like we did last year, Dylan, you're familiar with the format we did. Logan is not. So that is why I did that. So coming in at number 25 of the nation with two very embarrassing losses to a Miami squad and a Western Michigan team. We have Pittsburgh at 6-2, 24th ranked San Diego State, 23rd ranked Fresno State, 22nd ranked Iowa, which in all my personal opinion, I think Iowa's only up there because their athletic director is the damn commissioner of the College Football Playoff Committee. Purdue and Wisconsin, not good losses. And not only did they lose in those two games, they lost big. 21st, we have Wisconsin, and 20th with losses to Ohio State and Bowling Green, Minnesota. So, boys, thoughts on that?
Ooh. Man, let's look right there. Let's look at the bottom of this list with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's a solid football team. Say what you want about their losses. I think that's a right spot for them. Wisconsin still worries me a little bit. They've had some big wins, but they've also lost a lot of football games this year. So I think 21 is a little strange for them to be sitting at. But I mean, Iowa, they were top 4 not too long ago in that certain area. So now obviously the rankings come out and they sit here at 22. Fresno State I don't have a problem with. They've won some big games too. I picked them in a few upsets on Pac-12 football. But, I don't have too much of an issue with the top 25 to 20 area. I'm sure Logan might.
No, I don't see anything. One thing I do want to point out, a lot of people aren't talking about Wisconsin's playing a lot better. Graham Mertz is playing a lot better. I like Pittsburgh's offense. I forget the quarterback's name, but he's pretty good. I was able to watch a couple of their games this year. Who was it?
Pickett.
Yeah, Pickett. Yeah, that's right. Minnesota. If I were to pick one, be like, why? It would be Minnesota. Just when you lose to Bowling Green, how's there a way to do that? Or get in
program down.
Losing to, literally at Minnesota. But other than that, I agree, Dylan. I mean, 20 through 25 is pretty realistic.
Yeah, I mean, the only issues I have is Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. Wisconsin, I could definitely see they've won some big football games, and they are looking like they're going to be competing for the Big Ten championship here in a couple.
Shout out my former middle school teammate Joe Tippmann, starting center on the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah.
How about that? All right. 19 through fifth. Let's go fifth. 19 through 15. We got NC State coming in at 6-2. 18th ranked Kentucky 6-2. 17th ranked Mississippi State 5-3. 5-3. Excuse me. 16th ranked Ole Miss, and number 15 in the country, the Brigham Young Cougars at 7.
Mormons.
You're Mormons.
7-2. I'm sorry. The Mormons get back into the top 15, baby.
It's a great day to be Landen Traylor.
I know. I had tears rolling out of my eyes when they lay out that blue and white.
I'm still upset about Coastal, but I know they didn't deserve a shot in here. But I felt really, really poor against them. But
fire everyone.
What's that?
Fire everyone.
Yeah, fire everyone. They've lost handful of games the last 2 years, whatever. We'll look at 19 to 15 here, and I see Kentucky as I think that's the best spot for them right there at 18. Really? They were a team that played Georgia early on in the year. I thought that was a great game. They were 12 going into that one. 18 for Kentucky, I think is a solid spot for them, obviously with that loss. But Ole Miss, that's an intriguing one at 16. I'm sure a lot of people feel some type of way on that, and I'm not talking Rich Homie Quan. But 19 to 15. Once again, I don't think I have too many issues in this area. It really comes to me when we start getting up higher on the totem pole.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I do have one thing to point out. You gotta look at head-to-head, Dylan. Mississippi State beating Kentucky. I think that's Kirk Herbstreit made a great point last night. It's head-to-head. Logan, go ahead.
I just thought they would give Kentucky the benefit of the doubt. If there was anything, I expected them to come at 15. I could see Mississippi at 16 and BYU at 18. But like you said, the head-to-head matters, and they've made that very clear. The chairman even said, it's like head-to-head matters. It's going to matter. So when it comes to the dynamic of the Ohio State-Oregon, those two teams went out. It is guaranteed that Oregon will be in front of them because the head-to-head. So in Kentucky with Georgia, Kentucky had those 6 wins. There were some pretty gritty wins. I've been able to watch them a lot this year too, because I'm hoping they match up with Notre Dame. That'd be one I would want to play. But, if you look at it, they've played Georgia the toughest out of anybody yet. So I thought they would get more respect when it came down to that. But it's the first week. I'm not too worked up about it. But Mississippi is definitely interesting.
The one I have an issue with is I don't have an issue with any of them. What I have an issue about that statement is Kentucky did not look good at all against Mississippi State. I didn't get to watch the game. I watched some highlights. They did not look too good. I think they're kind of on a
little letdown.
Yeah, a little bit of a letdown. I think they're on the trending down. They got another big game this week. I know I put it on the list. I'm pretty sure.
Mississippi State?
I thought they played Mississippi State last week.
We'll find it and bring it up later.
Yeah, we'll get to it. All right, 14 through 10. We got Texas A&M coming in at 14th in the country at 6-2. 13th ranked Auburn 7-1. That'll be interesting. Auburn plays Texas A&M this week. 12th ranked Baylor 7-1, and 11th ranked Oklahoma State at 7-1, and 10th ranked Notre Dame at 7-1 as well. Dylan, thoughts on 14 through 10?
Not a big fan of Baylor. Not strictly because of their record or anything like that. I just don't think that they're as good as people think. And sitting them at 12, I don't think is a good spot for them. Texas A&M, I think, is a much better football team when you look at them as a whole. Texas A&M is obviously ran well. They have great athletes. They're a solid program there as well. So, I mean, obviously the big conversation here is the Irish being a 10. I think that's a realistic spot for them right now. I know Landon's probably going to go on a spill thinking they're maybe 7, 8, whatever. But I think Notre Dame at 10 makes a lot of sense. You have to take into account their schedule this year. They have a lot of close wins. They took Florida State to overtime to start the year. Toledo. I think 10 at Notre Dame at 10 is a realistic spot for this football team right now.
Would you put us out of the top 10 even?
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I don't think they're out of top 12.
I don't.
Go ahead.
It's the first week, so like you look at this, you look through all the rankings. Baylor has a tough game. They have to play Oklahoma. Oklahoma has to play them. They have to play Oklahoma State. All three of those teams have to play. Auburn, Texas A&M still have a tough schedule. The one thing that I could see, there's two ways we can go about this. Notre Dame, I think the highest ceiling, if whatever happened, we went out, the highest rank we get is 6th. Like, looking at it all, like there's no way we'll be in the top 5. I mean, there's a 0% chance we're going to make the playoff, but it'll be interesting to see next week after some of these games happen. I was surprised that Wake Forest got ahead of us. That was the one that was like, whoa. But it's like, what do you expect? You're independent. If you join the ACC, you're sitting in the top 10, and you're probably undefeated.
You're kidding me right now. You're kidding. You're kidding.
We don't have to worry about one loss, but
okay, whatever. 9 through 5.
Let's stir it up. Stir it up.
We're not joining the ACC. That was a one-time show.
Let's stir it up.
Okay, whatever. We already own the ACC. Logan, you and I have had some conversations after games about me ranting. We blank the ACC. We are, 9 through 5 here. We got 9th ranked Wake Forest, who has 0 top 25 wins, 0 major wins, 0 wins. What?
Our 5 conference.
Whatever.
Or 5.
Whatever. I mean, congrats. You can beat Syracuse. Congrats. I mean, it took you 3.
They play Clemson still, don't they?
Yes.
Does that matter?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Beats them, done.
Anyway, Oklahoma coming in at 8.
That's an ACC team at 9 there, Logan.
Huh?
That's an ACC team at 9 there, Logan. Maybe that's
the
average if they're in the ACC.
It's unreal.
All right. Eighth ranked Oklahoma coming in at 9-0, which I was very surprised at this ranking. Look, like Oklahoma or not, this team's 9-0. They've had some scares, yes. They find ways to win.
Good.
They do look good.
Caleb Wood looked very high level.
This is one that really got my gears grinding. Is 7th ranked Michigan 7-1. I'm not sure the logic here. So you come in at 6th in the country last week. You're 7-0. You have a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter, and you absolutely lay an egg in the fourth quarter. Get outscored 22-3. I mean, where's the logic in that? Like, I mean, you literally get shit on the road. You scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. You turn it over twice. I mean, there was one snap where the quarterback literally hit the quarterback's hand. Quite frankly, I'm just very shocked that Michigan is at 7th, but I'm not going to get more into it. I mean, end of the day, they're going to have their biasness.
The thing about Michigan, I'll bring this up. I made this point last year on the show when we started to get into this playoff stuff, and you can roast me all I want. I heard it from my buddies last night on the Rough Cut, but they told me this. Look, Michigan, Ohio State, I know that game gets ratings. 5 and 7 looks a lot more sexier than if Michigan's a little bit lower on that list. So they're going to try to keep them as high as they can with their schedule, given what they have going up. This game is, 2 weeks out, a week out, whatever it is. They're going to come up and have a higher rating, or they'll stay the same. They're not dropping them. So Michigan at 7, they can understand that logic a little bit more. It's not illogical to have them at 7, but if they can do it for TV ratings as well, they're going to put them right there.
Yeah, like I said, it's the first week. There's no need to get worked up about it. Michigan had State beat. They should have won the game. And the Big Ten's the best conference in college football this year overall. Obviously, Georgia, the best team in the SEC, but Michigan's a good football team. Like, let's not take credit away from them. We've been talking about it. They are a good football team. And like Dylan said, that's why Oklahoma State, Baylor, they're pushing them up a little bit. So when they play Oklahoma, they're getting the primetime games. That's what it's about. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, their ratings for the playoffs, the final playoff show, it'll be huge because everyone's going to want to know. So Michigan can have 7. That's fine. I see them going 9-3, but that's just me.
Ooh.
They're not beating Ohio State.
6th ranked in the country, we have Cincinnati at 8-0. This is not surprising to me. Only win is against us. Only top 25 win is against us. No other teams are ranked in the AAC. I think this is fair. And, whether you like it or not, it's fair for the 4-team playoff. Now, I do think it should be expanded. No doubt about it.
It would have been a great year for expansion, especially this year. It would have been awesome.
And it's a damn shame
every year.
Well, this year, this is the first time I've said it this year. This year would have been incredible, just how balanced it is.
Right.
I mean, there's so many good teams.
Right.
There would have been a lot of games, too.
I have a take on Cincinnati. Landon, I know you wanted to throw in Ohio State at 5 there as well. But look, Cincinnati is the best team in the state of Ohio. I think that 100%. And, you could have this argument on what would they have to do to get into the top 4. Do you need people ahead of you to lose for them to jump with an undefeated record? And I think one thing with Cincinnati as they head on, it's going to depend on the Irish, 100%. Notre Dame is at 10 right now. That's a top 10 win. But I think as you continue on to see what can happen down the stretch, if Notre Dame loses another game, that win doesn't look as good, and there's no chance they can get in even being undefeated. So that's something that could be problematic.
Yeah, so if we go 11-1, we help them for sure. But the way they're winning games, last 2 weekends against Navy and Tulane aren't helping them any, especially struggling with Navy. I mean, obviously they blew it open at the end, but even Tulane. So, I mean, it's kind of they control their own destiny a little bit when it comes down to you got to take care of your opponents. You got to win in a way that kind of proves that you deserve to belong. But like Dylan said, I completely 100% agree with you that if we go at 11-1, it looks a lot better. And if we drop one, we kill their chances too.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hot take. I think Ohio State would beat Cincinnati by 21 or more. I think Ohio State would beat Cincinnati by 21 points or more.
It's not as spicy as you think. I mean, maybe, but look, they're a big Power 5 school. Cincinnati's a school that, I mean, they've gotten better every year. They were in the conversation last year there for a while, and they have a good offense and everything's going well there. So, I mean, there's a lot going on around this Cincinnati team, but that point I don't think is bogus by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. All right, we got to get going here, folks. Dylan and Logan, 5th ranked Ohio State, no problem with that at 7-1. Obviously, I think they got left out at 4 because Oregon comes in at the fourth spot at 7-1. Head-to-head matters, as Logan mentioned before. The commissioner said it up front yesterday. Head-to-head matters. At third, we have the Michigan State Spartans at 8-0. I mean, look, they're 8-0. They proved that they can beat a big team. And 8-0, they're a solid team. Now, I personally believe, Logan and I were talking about this yesterday, I truly believe at the bottom of my heart that the Big Ten is going to beat themselves out of a college football playoff. Will they let that happen, though? I don't know. Look at last year.
This is going to be the first year you're going to see a 2-loss team in my opinion.
Oh, I think so. I think so as well.
I think a 2-loss Ohio State game, if they, they got the 1 loss to Oregon and they lose in the Big Ten, I would still think the committee would put them in over a Cincy team, especially if we lose, Notre Dame loses.
I agree. And then 2nd ranked Alabama at 7-1 and 1st ranked Georgia at 8-0. Look, whether you like it or not, Alabama is a name brand school, and that is what you get. Exactly, and they're good. So when you win 16 national championships in your school's history, you deserve to be in conversation every year. Like, I'm sorry, all these fans going crazy. They lost to Texas A&M. Why are they even ranked still? They're Alabama. They're not going anywhere. So that wraps up.
They're the 2nd best team in the country. I mean, I don't think
I cannot wait for the SEC. Look, Alabama still got to get through Auburn, though. That's going to be a dicey game. That is.
And if they lose one, they're done. They're done too.
They are.
I really believe they're done. If you have 3 losses, they lose that Auburn game. But if Georgia beats them, I mean, I really don't see them putting in a Bama team, especially with what's behind. Kurt Herbstreit said it last night. These teams up in the top 10 have to keep on, don't look forward. You got to look back and see what's going on too. And that's what's most important.
Absolutely. All right. That wraps up the week 1 college football playoff rankings talk.